The purpose of specialist units is really to provide two-way stream. It allows the military to get the most out of professional skills that they might not otherwise get.
There is a breadth of skills all pulled together to give the Army what it needs.
I'm sure that most people would be able to find a specialist unit that would have some sort of role for them.
Hello Zero, this is Charlie 10 Charlie, radio check, over. The job I got in Civvy Street is very much sort of desk-based, and I really wanted to apply all the skills I'd learned there, but in an environment that was totally different and ever-changing.
I'm a chef by trade. I just wanted to venture in my life something different.
Civilian role is health and safety advisor.
I'm a warehouse colleague.
Financial consultant.
I work in recruitment.
I'm a senior engineer.
A graphic designer.
Primary school teacher.
I'm a golf course manager.
IT technician.
Probation officer.
I make windows on a production line.
I'm a student.
I'm in industrial catering.
You name it, we've got them.
Whereas independent units are probably recruited from a more local area because they train so regularly, being specialists we can recruit from around the whole of Great Britain and draw them into wherever we're training for that week.
What attracted me to Specialist Unit was a diverse range of trades that are available, and also the chance to travel and train all over the UK.
It used to be that they were specialists to a trade, so they had, if a postie, to be a postie you had to be a postman. That seems to be changing now, and they'll train you from scratch.
It just so happens that my civilian job is a chef, so I was an advantage. You don't have to be of the trade that you want to do in the TA. All the relevant trades have their own training programmes.
I'm a structural engineer and I work in London. What attracted me to the specialist unit was the opportunity to do a similar work to what I do in my civilian job, but in a very different, challenging environment.
I chose to come in as a vehicle mechanic as opposed to like my civilian job where I work in an office.
I've had an IT background and I really just want to expand on that and also just provide some of my civic skills into the military life.
On operations, the need for specialist units is very high, and the regular army works very closely with the TA.
I've been involved in both a local unit and a specialist unit, and my involvement with the local unit was quite a high commitment. I looked around and found a specialist TA unit that I could use with the skills I've got in my civilian life, and what I find is a lot less commitment. It's 19 days and we tend to just go twice a year. The key thing is the 19 days. You've got that low baseline of commitment, however it allows you to do extra as well.
I find I do loads more than that. I'm doing days all over the place because it's good fun and because they come up and they're available, and you don't have to go to a drill night once a week.
You don't even have to do your annual camp in one whole chunk if you don't want to. You can do it in chunks of 2, 3, 4 days.
Which makes it easier for me to be able to commit myself.
To me, my social life and my home life is important too. So going to the specialist unit was actually quite key, so I could not have as much commitment but put as much into it as I can find.
You guys getting on all right? With my lifestyle, I may be away for a week or a month at a time, but specialist allows me to be flexible enough to work those 19 days I need to in that year.
Because it is a lower commitment, our guys tend to stay in for a lot longer time. They'll stay in for maybe 20 years.
You can pick when you do your training, because they offer the training all year round, plan ahead or at short notice as well, because they're quite accommodating.
There's loads to offer in the TA, and I don't think people are aware of that until they actually join.
You will go further with the training and support than you thought you ever possibly could.
Lots of courses available depending on your particular interests. I mean, after all, we do volunteer, so we like to do things that we enjoy doing.
When I first joined, I managed to gain my summer mountain expedition leader. I've pursued that through to get a qualification that allows me to lead worldwide. In a civilian environment, to pay for expeditions would be extremely expensive, but the TA recognises the training value.
In a couple of weeks I'll be carrying out the Defence Instructional Techniques course, which is a basic course to teach you how to teach.
The majority of skills are transferable. Heavy goods class 1, coach licence, motorcycle licence and management skills have all been transferred, and again they helped me get employment once I was out of work as a lorry driver.
How you go about your life and what you can actually get out of a whole day, instead of a civilian mindset of maybe 9 to 5. There's actually 24 hours in a day that you can make use of.
There's lots of communication skills that you learn because you're working as a team.
One vegetarian coming up.
The command, management and leadership training that I received is second to none. I can transfer that back to my civilian career. As you can see, it's actually quite a small area, so it'll be very concentrated.
But from our point of view, we get more rounded individuals and they can improve and develop the skills that we find useful as an organisation. The ability to think on your feet, getting on well with people, teamwork, the training they get from the TA benefits us in the long term, so I think it's a win-win situation.
My employee sees it as he knows that I'm going to be somebody who's going to be confident and he can rely on.
So Royal Mail are very, very supportive, and they actually give us 2 weeks paid holiday to actually come away.
They give me 1 week's unpaid, and I've got to use a week of my holidays for the other week.
I'm self-employed, so within reason I give myself time off.
My employers are very supportive because it's been a government agency. I'm allowed to have 10 days holiday a year.
The amount of work that the regular army is expected to do all around the world is increasing. So I think the TA is taking a very important role in supporting that.
Some of the regulars are indeed quite surprised, I think, sometimes once we've been with them, just how effective we are.
This particular exercise is a case in point. It's a joint logistic regular and TA exercise. They went and we arrived and we slotted straight into the job that they were doing.
They bring a whole load of very different skills to bear on problems. The effect can sometimes be quite startling because they come at problems from a different angle.
The teamwork here and being in command of a section is the challenging side of it for me and making things work.
Today we're attempting to airlift a pylon into place for the Iraqi Electric Company.
So if this works, we could hopefully get the Iraq power system up and running.
I went out to Iraq. I was working in Basra Airport most of the time, and you get to learn a lot about the world and the other operations that we're doing.
When people get mobilised, we will then look after the partners and families and so on, and at the same time we will then guarantee them employment when they come back. We will help them to settle back into their work environment, and we'll also give them a full entitlement of annual leave for the period that they've been away.
Being self-employed, it was slightly difficult in that maybe I lost a few clients during that 6 months, but as soon as they learnt what I've been up to, they're even more tempted now to hire me.
I would be mobilised again. At the end of the day, you've joined a armed service. You know, you've joined the reserve armed service, and you've got to be prepared to do what's needed.
It's definitely the crack with the lads, the patter that you get with them, the camaraderie. It's something you don't always get in Civvy Street.
It just opens an enormous amount of doors to you that you won't get in civilian life.
Give it a try, see what it's like.
Any TA days, anything like that that come up, I'm there, I want it. I love it.